So, guys, Junior here from Lockhorns. Want to chat to you a bit about the guitar. This is kind of the beginning of our channel and pushing it a little further as to the content that we bring you. It's a little tricky, in this time of musicians, and this is where, oh my word, going to drone on about the issues of having to create content and blah, 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 blah. It's not that there. I think for me, especially for the Lockhorns, we grew up in a time where bands were a little harder to see, in a sense. You saw them on Scuzz or Kerrang, that's showing my age. And then that's it. You maybe heard something that they said in the magazine, but there wasn't a ton of footage and being in front of people all the time, and there's part of just going, I want to just make riffs and play music live, and that should be enough. But it isn't the case, and I think it's the issue, and I know I will get into talking about the guitar in a little bit, but it's also that thing of, I think it's the type of content and people, the type of content that bands are expected to make to be funny and memes and stuff like this here, whereas that's not, when I see that, it's just like, that's not my personality, and the content that I enjoy to watch is different than that, where it is just like deep dives into things and just seeing, well, one, people's personality, and for it not to be super fake and processed and just raw, somebody talking to a camera and no cuts, no edits, and that's that. So, without further ado, speaking about the type of content, just going to have a chat about the new acts that I'm playing in Lockhorns. So, this is an upgrade from my ESP. There was not issues with that, and it is a good guitar, but for what I want to do specifically Lockhorns, it was causing me, late nights. And waking up in cold sweats, thinking about, the next guitar, which isn't ideal, so it was good. And to be fair, Red Room was all recorded on that, written and recorded on that, and I played it multiple times live, and it took, in the back of my mind I was always like, what is the next guitar? And I was trying to figure that out. I am a big fan of guitars that don't look like 8 strings, that super strat look. It's just not my vibe. This kind of got this Telecaster. Outside of the metal type guitars, I absolutely love playing Tellies over Strats, so maybe that was part of it, but I just love how this looks. It's got a satin finish. You can see the wood grain through it. Hip-shot bridge, Fishman pickup, ebony fretboard, stainless steel frets, locking tuners. There is a fancy thing for this nut, but it's a nut. And again, I'm a simple man, simple taste, volume, one pickup, which does look like the bridge pickup, but it has different voicings, and that's it. That is kind of essentially what this guitar is. And I was like, oh, there's less on it, less can go wrong. But part of the reason for picking this guitar specifically, again, off the Everchin, was all about this low string. So on the ESP, I was only able to put a 0.8 into it. On this guitar, I have 100 on this. Shout out to Newtone Strings. I was able to configure a whole 3 different types. I think I had a 90, 95, and 100. The 100 is what fit. I just start with that and work our way back. It might take a 105, but the 100's been perfect. And we even did Bloodstock with that 100. It's actually probably the same string. I haven't ordered another one because, well, Newtone specifically, the strings are so good. They stay kind of bright. But was able to get the 100 in on the top. Was able to taper it as well, so it's still able to fit into that tuning peg and be wound as normal. I was using some other strings and having to unravel the wind and just use the core through the unwound string through there, which isn't the best for tuning stability, especially if you're doing bends and things like that there. And with the 100 is the scale length as well, 27.5 to 25.5, I believe. The longer scale length on the top for the low strings just gives me that stability, especially if you're doing anything triplet or any heavy tremolo type stuff. It just keeps it from flying about like a spaghetti noodle. The high strings, I'm not up there very often if you've heard our material. More for noises and things like that, but because of the short scale length, bends and playing anything lead or stuff like that there, which I do noodle about with, it is quite effortless. on this. And you'd think that with the fan fret that it might take a little while to get used to. I mean, within about 2 minutes, was completely used to this. It wasn't the first time I played a fan fret either. I had like an Abasi style guitar that I was borrowing for a little bit. Maybe stick a clip in here. And yeah, I got very used to this very, very quickly. Hip shot bridge as well. I do have a little bit of tape on this. Now, if you've played other guitars and the ESP that I said I played, that Evertune has a lot of hardware in it, and depends on the genre that you're playing, but we do a lot of stops and quick like silences. And if you have a lot of hardware, a lot of metal vibrating, the overtones that creep in and the noise gate just can't clamp down on kind of drive me nuts, to be fair. Now I do normally have a fret wrap on the top of this, but I've taken it off specifically for this video because it doesn't look the prettiest with it on. This hip shot bridge, super quiet. I've been a little bit pedantic with putting that tape on, but just to be sure, I don't want any noises, you know, better be safe than sorry. And then, well, that's, you know, so in that sense I've kind of covered why I play this particular guitar, and it's heavy, which is, you know, is that a determining factor? For me, yes. You know, I'm 6'5". I do not like playing light guitars. That's why I don't mess with any of the Super Strat models, Ibanez or Jack, anything like that there. It's just like, when I've owned both of those guitars in 6-string form, and it feels like I'm playing a toy. I need something with just a little bit of weight to it, so it feels like I'm playing an instrument, you know. And I do feel like the low end on a heavy guitar sounds better. That could just be, you know, like a new car drives better. It might just be all in my head. And actually, sort of thing, just as I noticed there, is the glow in the dark little fret markers, it is nice sometimes, you know. When we're playing, people tend to like that strobe light quite a bit. So these, you know, and then through the dreads going wild, I'm able to see exactly where the hell I'm at. Now, again, that is partially, mostly why I play this instrument and why I enjoy play this specifically. But another thing as well was not only the low string, but this pickup too. I've heard a lot of things about this, and I definitely wanted to try it out. It has not disappointed. The twang that it's able to get, and to be fair, this guitar coupled with my other 8-string, so I'll do like left and right with this guitar and then left and right with the other one, the AMGs in it, the sound, just because such different voicings from those two pickups that together, you know, this guitar individually by itself is unbelievable, and to be fair, the other one is not bad, but together they are unbelievable, just massive, and there's no phase issues as well with that. There is a couple of voicings here. With so much gain and whatever else going through it, they all just sound awesome. It's meant to be like a, you know, I don't know the specifics of it, but it's meant to be like a modern tone, which would be like the bridge pickup position. Middle position is like a passive sound, and then that's like a single coil type thing. Again, with so much going on and the strings being so heavy, the nuances of that, you can't really I don't really pick up on too much. It tends to be on whatever this bottom position is. I'll try and figure that out. Put text over the top with the configuration of what they are. When I'm using a slightly more crunch sound, I do hear a little bit more from that low end as well. I haven't actually figured that part out yet. In terms of this video, sorry, I know what I like with this here. But in terms of this video, I might just put in at the end some sound demos of the bit at the bottom. It's not really a product review, but for the guitar players that are interested in this, I will go through some of those other voicings on that as well. But yeah, overall, just an absolute solid guitar. I'm just like, it's having an instrument like this that you don't mind playing, that's just easy to play is for me key for the writing of it. That I don't feel like I'm limited by the guitar, which is, there's nothing worse than you end up spending more time trying to fix the guitar than just playing. And, all my guitars are set up by Ernie. And out of the box, this one just played so well. I need to double check this, but I do believe actually it's a carbon fiber neck. So that, with all the string changes and all, I mean, the guitar, probably can't pick it up there, but the action and the straightness of this neck is absolutely flawless. I mean, dead straight. Even for that low string, there's always going to be that low string rattle. But yeah, absolute monster of a guitar. But yeah, I don't know if there would be any questions, but this is the kind of content that I enjoy watching. People chatting about their instruments, why they choose the instruments that they do. And yeah, I think down the line we'll start to do a little bit more content like this. Next up, I'll jump into that ESP. It might be a little bit more of a whinging session, but there is good aspects to that guitar as well. But it's maybe just interesting for you to see as to why I switched. If you're out there playing a guitar and go, okay, maybe there's enough there for me to maybe want to play that guitar as well. And Schecter, if you want to send me a second one, same color. I wouldn't say no. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this content. Maybe a little bit more down the line. And updates and stuff like that there. I won't say too much about what we're up to in terms of the writing. We're always writing, of course. Well, I did say a little bit there when I said I wouldn't. But more content like this. Maybe talking about some studio clips and other guitar. I will jump into the actual rig itself. Guitar is only one part of playing live. There's the pedals and the amps and things like that there that we use also. But yeah, Junior from Lawcoins here. Catch you in the next one.